On this episode of Sega Talk, we slide down into the Batcave to talk about Batman Forever for the Sega Genesis. Who was behind this two-faced title? Did Mortal Kombat gameplay translate to a beat-em-up platformer? What are our thoughts on the movie it was based on? If answers you seek, then don't delay. Unravel the clues on Sega Talk today.
SegaBits presents Sega Talk, a podcast talking all things Sega! With your hosts, George and Barry.
Look, it's a giant talking egg. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the master here. So what?
Hello and welcome to episode number 184 ever of Sega Talk. I'm Barry, and with me is the Robin to my Batman, George.
Robin was pretty cool in this movie, right? Wasn't he like some sort of like soap opera actor or something, like a teen drama actor?
I think he was. I think he was on teen shows. I actually did like zero coverage of the movie itself on here outside of like a little like what are our memories of the movie, because yeah, we just did Dick Tracy 2 episodes ago, and I was like, I want to just talk about the game. I can't get into the movie history. But yes, we are going to be talking about a Batman Forever, the Joel Schumacher movie. I actually didn't even put like the names of the actors in the notes, but it's Val Kilmer as Batman, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Nicole Kidman as the female love interest, and Chris O'Donnell as Robin. So, George, riddle me this. What backs our show, yet stays unseen?
Our Patreon account at www.patreon.com/SegaBits. That's my final answer.
That's correct. And so, yeah, tell people about how they can support us on Patreon, George.
On Patreon, we got a slew of great content. We usually we give people a week early the episode, or is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks early. 2 weeks.
2 weeks early. Even that's 50% longer.
Yeah.
You keep it for yourself. It starts at $1, so anything helps. And $5 gives you the video version early, and $20 you get to tell us what to talk about, like, I don't know, some sort of like Batman Forever type video game.
Yeah. So, and you can also leave your memories. So if memories you seek, don't ask Adam West. Look to the person with initials N and S. George, who is that Patreon member who picked this episode?
Nicholas
based
Schaefer.
on that riddle. You got it, Nicholas Schaefer. So, since he's the backer, I'm going to read his memories at the top of the show. Nicholas says, when you read reviews of this game, you can they will tell you this is the worst Batman game of the 16-bit generation. The controls are sluggish, complicated, and unresponsive, that this is possibly one of the worst beat-em-ups of all time. And they're right. But what is often overlooked is that the settings under training mode, there is a completely different game, a Batman fighting game built on the Mortal Kombat 2 engine, and this is one of the best Batman games of the 16-bit generation. It allows for 1-player versus CPU, 2-player competitive, and 2-player co-op against the AI. The AI has 30 levels of difficulty that can be set. You can toggle it on and off. Friendly damage, friendships will be tested. Now, you can play as Batman and Robin, but much like the main game, they suck. But the villains are playable with complete movesets you'd expect from a fighting game. Thug 1 is a melee character fighting with a chainsaw that he can ride across the platforms to get in close. Thug 2 is a range fighter dressed in a yellow Dick Tracy suit and packing a flamethrower. Riddler Thug has the ability to turn invisible, so it takes a lot of skill as you have to mentally keep track of where you are. Circus Thug is a clown in a speed character with a cartwheel of death that can throw his nose to light other players on fire. Boy, he loves all these characters. Super and Spice, speaking of going for the nuts. What? These two are glass cannons. They can't take a lot of damage, but they grab opponents by the balls and leave them stunned. Great for combos. All right. Two-Face is a grappler who can set bear traps, set the trap, then throw your opponent into it. Inmate has the ability to shock his attackers, and these are just the highlights. Honestly, I want to know the development story of this game because it is clearly a fighting game that may not even have started as a Batman game, but then turned into a beat-em-up movie tie-in. There's a good game here that's just not one advertised on the box. There's a lot of great games on the Genesis, but when I think of playing games with my friends, this game has to be the one with the most memories were made. And I'm glad Nicholas covered all that because I actually gloss over that mode.
Really?
Mainly because it's not the main mode. It's just a little side thing.
Did you notice that like back in the 16-bit days they had those type of modes where you randomly go in, like obviously the obvious one, Sonic's 2-player mode, where it was split screen. I think TMNT games sometimes would have like a little multiplayer where you could fight each other in an arena. And games nowadays like either don't have anything like that, like some random mode. And I think the last game from Sega, at least, well, I guess the new Yakuza games, but Sonic wise, the last time I remember having a bunch of weird modes where I was like, why? Was what was the Sonic Boom game? The Rise of Lyric?
Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I guess I'll move it to this part of the show. There was actually a question later on in the show notes where we talk about this, but that's actually a situation where the multiplayer mode is better than the base game. I actually got a review copy years ago of Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, and I brought it to a friend's house, and we played it on his Wii U. And I'm like, I mainly just want to play the multiplayer with you because, like, my wife doesn't know how to play video games. So I was like, let's try it. And it was fun. And I realized it's a different developer. And in this case, it's the same developer. But nowadays, there's a lot of times when they'll farm out the multiplayer mode to a different dev team, and it plays a lot better. I forgot which game it is. It's one of the Aliens games from the 2000s from SEGA. But they had a different developer for a different mode, and people were like, that's better than the main game. So this might be one of those examples where the side mode that people don't talk about is better than the main game. And I think it's worth talking about the main game because that's the main game. So let's have some gameplay footage playing if it's not already, and I will tell you the tale of Batman Forever. So Batman Forever is a beat-em-up for the Mega Drive Genesis. It's developed by Probe Entertainment and Black Team, based on the June 1995 film of the same name. It launched in the United States in September 95, before rolling out to Europe, Japan, and Australia and Brazil in the months that followed. The game stands out for drawing heavy inspiration from Probe's earlier home versions of Mortal Kombat, and it features digitized character sprites and a nearly identical control scheme. So before we get into the game, let's talk a little bit about our memories of the Burton Batman movies, but especially the transition to the Joel Schumacher films. And you can actually, on the video version, I have the VHS tapes behind me, but here's the trilogy box set that came out at the time of Batman Forever. I'm holding it here. Look at that. What are your memories, George?
I used to have this movie growing up. It was and I would always watch. I would always watch it. I actually found the movie very entertaining. I thought, as a kid, of course. As an adult, now that I like only good movies, I'm like, give me no. I actually always have issues with every single portrayal of Batman. I think it's always a unique take on the character every single time.
Yeah.
So I think Batman, I'm fine when they reinvent him because my whole life he's been reinvented. The movie version is never like the comic. Even the comic changes. Like the 80s Batman that's shooting people in subways is not the same one that's in the new issues, for example.
Right.
But I enjoyed this. I thought I really liked the over the top performance from Jim Carrey. I think he stole it just being himself, and I think he does that a lot in a lot of movies. Kilmer did a good job. I think Robin was probably the weak link, and I think they have a Batgirl cameo kind of thing here. They're trying to pitch in, or is it another one?
I forgot if she's in this movie. I watched it maybe 6 months ago, but
okay.
Yeah, it's I would say for me the weak actor is Tommy Lee Jones because he's really trying to ham it up to match Jim Carrey's energy. So instead of having like Two-Face and the Riddler, you have the Riddler and then Two-Face trying to be the Riddler, and it's just too much. Like, especially the makeup that they had for Tommy Lee Jones when he does this, and I'm doing like, again on the video it's kind of hard to explain, but like when he makes like the fish lips, like the he does that a lot. It doesn't look good with the makeup. It's like the makeup moves in a way that just looks kind of weird. Also, they I believe show him making the transformation in like news footage, and it's him covering his face with a folder while he gets splashed. So it's like, oh, okay, so his entire half body, but it's just on his face. And then also, it can't be ignored that this was supposed to be Billy D. Williams because he played this character in the original Batman movie, and people were so excited to see him become Two-Face, and it never happened until we got that comic adaptation a little bit ago, where it was basically like a what if the Tim Burton movies continued, and we got our Two-Face as Billy D. Williams. So I will say though, this is the better of the two Schumacher movies. It is a lot of fun. There's a better movie here that didn't get released. I believe it's called. There's a fan edit out there called I think it's called the Red Book edition.
I saw it online.
Yeah, and it's this whole backstory with Batman reading. I think it's his parents' funeral, and it's him reading Bruce Wayne reading the guest book or something, and he has this like vision of a large bat, and it's supposed to be a much darker story. And it ties in with the Riddler, like reading people's minds with that like thing that he puts to people's foreheads. And then another little like random memory of this movie that I find weird is that in almost all of these Batman movies, they open with like one of the characters who becomes a villain, like working an office job, and they have a really shitty boss, and like the boss is like. It's like OSHA violation, and,
right.
and HR needs to step in because it's like the first one. It's Jack Nicholson's got his boss. It's like the mob boss, and then in the second one, it's Michelle Pfeiffer's boss, played by he's not even credited. I don't know why he didn't get credit of Christopher Walken, who's just like a total jerk to her. And then in this movie, it's the Riddler's boss at Wayne Corp, and so it's like. And then I think the same thing happens with Poison Ivy. So it's like they really were just like, oh, they had a bad boss, and then they went crazy. Like that happens in every single movie. It's kind of
maybe
weird.
Maybe it's like true for the time. Maybe like in the 90s, everyone's like, dude, my boss is terrible. And it was just like normalized back then. I mean,
to become a Batman villain.
Yeah, to become a Batman villain because of your bad boss. And like... I'm happy I was a kid and I didn't have to work back then because I would hate to become a Batman villain. So
I would, yeah. Let's talk about the game. So did you play this game either back in the day or emulated later or maybe even picked up the game?
I literally... the first time I ever played it was when I got the EverDrive. The first time, and I was going literally through almost every game I could to just, because I have it now.
Yeah.
And I don't have...
Yeah.
And so it's really rare for me to want a licensed game that I don't know is already going to be good. So I definitely don't try to buy them because even then you once you start renting them, especially the Simpsons one, the Bart ones where you super cool artwork in the cover and so you obviously pick it up and then you take it home. That made me, skeptical. Also the Ren and Stimpy games and other Nickelodeon ones that I would rent. I was like, or Beavis and Butthead was a big one.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, why did I rent this? So Yeah, it keeps me away
Yeah.
from licensed games. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely rented this back in the day, and it was one of those games where I regretted renting it. Other ones that come to mind are Ren and Stimpy, Stimpy's Invention, like you mentioned, the Simpsons games. Back to the Future 3 is probably the worst game I ever rented because you can't get past the first level. And again, like the EverDrive, I picked one up and then I was like, oh, let's play these. Like, I'd watch Angry Video Game Nerd or episodes of, we used to have a show called My Life with SEGA on our channel. And when I'd watch those, I'm like, let me check these games out because now I have the EverDrive. And I just recently played it. I actually played it for an hour today, or, like a normal, not an hour, probably like 20 minutes. Yeah, I have my thoughts.
It's a good game then, right?
I mean, when I made the notes, it sounded like a good game. But I'll peel back that onion as we go through this. So let's talk about the gameplay. So the normal mode of the game is a side-scrolling beat-em-up with controls that are similar to a one-on-one fighting game. It can be played with single player, where the player can choose to be Batman or Robin, or two players, where player 1 is Batman and player 2 is Robin. Two-player games can be played cooperatively, where players cannot harm each other and share credits, or competitively, where Batman and Robin can attack each other and have separate credits. Players and enemies have health bars and are defeated when the bar is depleted. And just a side note, I hate the health bars because they use the color orange on top of the color red, and it's impossible to see. Nowadays with ADA compliance, there's no way that would pass. Like, they're so hyper focused on making games accessible nowadays that I cannot imagine this game. Like, you can't. I don't even have issues seeing colors, and I was struggling. I have a Segabit's mouse pad here actually, and it has stripes in red and like an off red. That's what it looks like on the screen. It's like that. Like you can hardly tell. So you're like, oh, I died. I didn't even know I had an empty health bar. Plus Batman's logo covers most of it. So when it's at half, you can't really tell because the colors are so similar, but I hated that. Players start each level with the same health as they ended the previous level, but health can be replenished by finding items. Players lose a credit if they run out of time, or the game ends if there is no more credits remaining. Enemies can block or dodge attacks, and most have their own special attacks. Enemies can harm each other with friendly fire, and levels can often require the player to defeat all enemies in an area before a pathway is opened up. Levels are also contain hidden areas that can be found through exploration and the use of items. So we're going to be mainly talking about the one-player experience, but just based on this, do you think this sounds like a fun two-player title?
I mean, as the single-player beat-em-up mode with two players?
The you can actually play through the game as two players.
I mean,
completely.
Isn't that kind of like a thing that, like Streets of Rage 2, you do that same thing? That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, to me, it's not enough to stand out in this genre.
Right.
I would say, obviously, any time back in the day when you could play two players at the same time, I feel like during the 16-bit era, that luxury kind of died out. The only time I remember that being a thing was when I rented Final Fight on the Super Nintendo with my cousin, and we're like, oh, we're going to play this game and I don't know if that's the one that it's only single player, so there's no multiplayer. I think that's the only time I ever ran into that. But like every beat 'em up game in that era had two players at the same time, or am I wrong?
No, you're pretty spot on. I guess what kind of stood out to me were the options. I don't recall every game having like a friendly, like you can hurt each other or not hurt each other, share credits or not share credits. So I thought that was kind of nice to have those extra options. I honestly feel like this is one of those games that's better with a friend. Just because if you're playing on easy mode, you have two people, that seems to be a lot more fair, and you can get through the game further. I played through the first level and a little bit of the second level before I died, and there's no continue, which really sucks. Like, you have your lives, but there's no continue screen to go back to the beginning of, like, the level you're on. And there's no password screen. But thankfully, there is a cheat menu that's very easy to access. You highlight the play game option. You press left, up, left, A, B, and a new menu appears where you can pick any weapons, enable easy kills. It's great. So, and you can pick any level too. So
that's cool.
That's nice. So I'm going to go back and do that again. I feel like easy kills is probably one-hit kills, which is a little too easy, but I am interested in trying that. But yeah, I mean, we've done an episode, I think, before on Aladdin, and that had the easiest. You'd pause and you go A B B A A B B A, I think it is, and then it would go whoop, and you'd beat the level. So I do love when they do that, and you don't have to lean on Game Genie. But as far as controls, it's your basic, right and left. Crouching to go down. You do have to press up to jump instead of having a jump button, which, what are your thoughts on that? I don't like that, but I get it's a fighting game thing.
This one's 2D, so like a fighting game 2D type, so I guess it makes sense in that aspect. It would be weird in like something like Streets of Rage, right? Like if you had to double tap it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I think it's not ideal, but I think it's fine.
Yeah. You can also glide while you're falling, so that's
really?
kind of cool. Like you hold up and then you glide with your cape out.
It is funny because it kind of looks like a low quality, like when you watch those old animes and they're trying to save as much money, so the character just they just move the cell of the character basically. That's kind of what it looks like in this game when they're floating. When they glide,
it's just like a still frame.
Yeah.
Players normally turn around by pressing in the opposite direction unless they're fighting an enemy, in which case pressing in the away direction twice forces them to turn around. So you kind of lock on. There is a nice a back attack, so if two enemies are here and you're punching this one, you'll punch this one every so often. I think Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist had that, and you could turn it on or off. I might be wrong. You can roll by pressing right A or left A, and C plus down jumps off platforms to a lower level. But I've found both the grappling hook to go up and going down, it's very precise. So there's going to be times where you're like going C down, oh man, C down, and then you do it. Like it's just I don't like that. The attack controls are basically Mortal Kombat. There's a six button control pad is what you want for this game, and that actually was the one high point for me because I love the 6-button control pad, but there's very few games I've ever played that utilize it. So I was like, oh, this game uses it? That's awesome. So X is high punch. What's that?
I was going to ask you, have you tried any of the 6-button ROM hacks they've done like for other games where it utilizes all 6 buttons?
I haven't. I wasn't aware of that, but I'm going to have to
you should
check
it out.
Is there one that comes to mind?
I think they did Shinobi 3, if I'm trying to mistake that. I think it's the first one I tried. But if you go onto a website, I'm not going to say here, all the ROMs are there, and you can see all the hacks. Some sort of CD-type romance site. It's out there. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, see, what I like about this game is despite it having fighting game controls, it does utilize the 6-button pad, so it's there's a lot you can do, so that's exciting to me because, we talked about Dick Tracy a few episodes ago. I love that game, but I can understand how it's very limited in its attacks and its fighting. And remember, that game came out 5 years before this, so wow. I think it's a little unfair to be like comparing the two, but once you get to this point, it's nice that they really kind of went all out. And I was like, playing for 10 minutes before I discovered a new move. I didn't have the booklet in front of me. So, yeah, I thought that was nice. There are a lot of controls here. I won't go through every button. But there are 2 control methods selectable before starting the game. let's see, for performing back attacks. So attacking an enemy behind the character while engaged with another in front of them. The first and default method simply requires pressing in the away direction and attacking. The second requires holding the mode button and attacking. So that's really interesting. They were like, let's use that mode button that no one uses. Do you ever like just click the mode button just for fun while you're playing?
Yeah,
click.
yeah, of course. It needs to be utilized, but the Genesis had that weird thing where it had two controllers, and they had to hope that everyone had one, the 6-button controller, and that sucks. That's a bad position to be in. But I think that's why we don't have more of those 6-button controllers, sadly. Games, sadly.
Right, and I mean, so if you were using the 3-button pad, A is low punch, right A or left A is facing punch, is high punch. B is low kick, C is high kick, down A uppercuts, down B does a sweep attack, and right C or left C performs a roundhouse, and then start blocks. So you're using the start button to block, and so if you want to pause the game, you have to press start A. So right there, you can see like that's you don't want to play this game with 3 buttons. It's definitely a 6-button game, and thankfully the Sega Nomad is a 6-button controller, so this would probably play really well on the go. Characters can also grab enemies at close range by pressing right B or left B, depending on the direction. Once an enemy is grabbed, they can be thrown in any away direction, and some enemies can block grabs. So, what do you think about this? What do you think about using fighting game controls in an action platformer? Do you think it works?
I think it could be fun if you're the type of person that likes to explore the gameplay. I feel like, for the most part, the people that I remember growing up playing beat-em-up games were more mainstream, literally mainstream gamers. Like the people that would be playing Madden would play Streets of Rage, for example. And I think part of the simplicity, it did have some complex moves, obviously, like positioning yourself for the grapples and all that. But it was simple enough for anyone to figure it out. I think that was its biggest draw. So I think it wouldn't work like a hardcore fighting game. But then again, I guess they could just play it at the simplest form of it. They don't have to know everything. It's not required to learn everything. So I can see it both ways. If the game was better, obviously designed, it's no Streets of Rage. Let's just put that out there. But I don't think it's a bad idea to have depth. Will a lot of kids use it? I would say I don't think so. But what do you think?
I liked it being implemented because despite the game itself not being that great, I wasn't getting bored because there were so many ways that I could fight enemies. And I actually, speaking of the gadgets in the game, I never actually utilized the gadgets. There are 5 gadgets, which are special abilities that you can perform by pressing certain button combinations. And you get to pick the gadgets at the beginning. It's almost like the parts shop in Fantasy Zone. And then there's also 4 hidden blueprint gadgets. And they're unlimited, and they happen with certain button combinations. And it wasn't until like the last few minutes I was playing the game that I started throwing batarangs. And I'm like, oh, I guess I figured out that. So with that regard, what are your thoughts on implementing gadgets? And also, just based on what I'm saying, I played the game for 20, 25 minutes, and I didn't realize I could get the gadgets to work until the last few minutes. So like, if that tells you anything, it seems like they're kind of buried. They're not hidden, but they're kind of buried behind seemingly complex button presses or ones that just don't come naturally through combat.
I mean, gadgets for Batman, especially during this era where mainstream was still, some people growing up was still the 60s era where he had a gadget for everything. And the comic book version of Batman literally does that too. So it's not obviously in a more serious tone. It's a no-brainer for a Batman game to have gadgets. And the Arkham games, he does the same thing. There's upgrades, obviously. So,
right. And the movies at the time really leaned into the gadgets, even the Burton ones. These ones, in the Schumacher ones, it got even more crazy. He clearly took inspiration from the Adam West Batman and started implementing some weird stuff. So it makes
Like
absolute sense to include them here. Right. I wish there was a back. That would have been awesome. I did want to note on our Dick Tracy video, there was actually a comment that noted not liking the lack of weapons in the game. They wanted to have like weapon pickups and like upgrades. And I was forgiving because it's a pretty early Genesis game, and it was also a game made in a crunch. But to be quite honest, Dick Tracy is not like a multi-weapon gadget guy. He has the wrist radio, he has a gun, and he has the Tommy gun, and that's like it. So I can't really see Dick Tracy having additional weapons. He's not one to use a knife. He's not going to use brass knuckles. He's going to punch, shoot, and use his Tommy gun, and I just can't see anything else. So I'm glad they didn't have a system like that in Dick Tracy. I mean, weapon upgrades would have been nice, but he just doesn't seem like the type to do that sort of thing. So I just wanted to mention that. Speaking of the training mode, which we talked about at the top of the show, I will forego actually talking about it in the notes here. And I guess I'll move on because we've actually talked about that at the top of the show. I should note, though, that the co-op mode is not included in the Game Boy or Game Gear versions. And yeah, we're not going to cover the other versions, but the Super NES and the Genesis Mega Drive versions of the game are very similar. The PC version of the game is the same as the SNES and Genesis versions, though Batman and Robin appear in their movie attire, but the PC version also has loading delays. The Game Boy and Game Gear versions do away with a majority of the puzzle solving and opt for a more traditional platform fighting game. And yeah, so if you want to check out those versions, they exist, but it doesn't seem like they're really all that worth really checking out. I honestly think Batman and Robin, or Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and maybe even if they can do it, Batman and Robin would make for a great compilation like limited run games have been doing. They did that Jurassic Park one not too long ago.
Isn't it kind of crazy that they're doing all these like retro collections, and Sega's been mute on doing any, like, I guess they did that one classic collection, but like going more crazy with other stuff. That's what is weird.
It is interesting. I mean, that's a little side road we could take here, is that it seems like for a time Sega really considered like single standalone Genesis games to be worth like $5-10 downloads. That was back in the Xbox Live Arcade era. And then for a time they were doing these compilations where it's like, oh, for $20 you get 80 Genesis games. And it was like, oh, okay, so now they're worth like pennies to you. Got it. And then they did Origins, and they're like, oh, $30 or $40 will get you 4 games that you've played time and time again, and we're not even giving you Chaotix or anything else. Like, it's just the core 4 games on the Genesis and Sega CD. So, and then on the same token, you have Atari 50, that compilation, giving you, geez, they keep announcing upgrades to it with more games being added, and I'm like, man, I don't have the energy to like download even more content, but thank you. And so it is very interesting that Sega, meanwhile, they just don't care about retro compilations anymore. And it is odd that we have to like rely on limited run games to do like the Jurassic Park collection, which granted are not fully Sega developed games to my knowledge. I think maybe they did the first Jurassic Park. Maybe I'm wrong, but that is weird. But anyway, let's talk about the levels in the game. So we'll take a break from watching some gameplay footage, and we'll take a look at the levels here. The Sega Retro Wiki, our wiki, my wiki, has everything listed here. It's very handy. One thing I appreciate about the game, so you begin the game in Arkham Asylum. the way it kind of works, and George, you can see here on the wiki, there's actually 4 little images you can click to jump around. Each level has like mini levels within it. So, true to Mortal Kombat, you're mainly fighting only one other fighter or 2 fighters. The game never brings 3 onto the screen. I thought that was very interesting. I'm sure that was just a limitation, but I think that works well with this sort of game. I was actually kind of fearing a Hyperstone Heist situation where like 12 characters fill the screen and I'm doing like Mortal Kombat moves to all these guys. But yeah, the one thing I did not like, though, is that even though they do this thing where they like give characters their own unique names, kind of like Streets of Rage, the names don't fit at all. Like, it almost seems like they use a randomizer. Like, just some of the ones I see here: Mad Jack, Ripper,
There's a guy named
Cannibal, Fruitcake, yeah, Fire Eater, and what's weird is that they're all played by the same guy. So it's worth mentioning that they do the Mortal Kombat thing where they use real actors. They didn't use the film actors, but they're in like outfits that look like them. But every single Arkham Asylum inmate is the same guy. They just give him different colors to his costume. And it seems like they're doing experiments on them or something, because some of them have special powers. I actually took a picture. Let me see what the names were. I saw the weirdest names. It was Freak and Anglophile.
What?
Anglophile, isn't that someone who loves, like, Christianity?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, if you love the Pope, you're an Anglophile. Like, oh, I love the Pope. I love...
What is What is this guy doing in the streets over here? We're getting beat up by Batman.
I know, he's an Anglophile. The next stage, then, the second Bank of Gotham, this is where I died. But I actually like this stage because what you do is you're going to different floors rescuing security guards. So you rescue the guard, you walk back to the elevator, you go up more, and in the stage, you can see the number on the wall so you know you're on, like, a new floor. I thought that was a fun touch. The circus, which I actually did not get to, that's where I do believe Robin is born, though they don't really touch on that plot point. But there is the ticking of the clock for the bomb that Two-Face set. And you have Gig and Chuck. You have Strangler, Coco, Jack, Mungo, and Bootsy. It's like, all right, cool. The next stage, Two-Face's hideout. It's a warehouse. And again, these are all randomized, so you might even see these guys on other stages. But like Saboteur, Sugar, Pearson, Two-Face. Hey, I know that. That's actually the guy's name. But yeah, I think as far as the progression so far, it is fun. It is unique. That said, some of these stages are very, very dark. Some stages are just pure black. Especially the warehouse level. You're looking here and you're like, man, turn the lights up a little bit. This is a kind of a colorful movie, but
it was ahead of its time. This is the lighting director for Game of Thrones and all these new shows.
It does look like that. Ritz Gotham is the next stage. This one looks it's like a hotel, but you're like up in the rafters and stuff, and then you end the stage fighting the Riddler or the Riddler. I'm going to blow through these last through. So we have Abandoned Subway Station, which sounds like looks like what it sounds like. Wayne Manor and the Destroyed Batcave. I thought that was really cool because if you remember in the movie, they blow up the Batcave. So it is cool to go into the Batcave itself, fight these guys, and you actually fight a boss, and you see in the background the what is it? The Batwing, the flying thing from the movies that's like hanging in the background. I thought that was a really cool touch. And then you end the game on Claw Island, which, yeah, I remember that from the movie. And you get some real weird stuff. So the Riddler actually becomes Big Riddle. That's his name. He bulks up. And apparently this is a deleted plot point from the movie where he he turns into Super Shredder because he puts that like plunger on his head. He sucks up so much brainwave energy that he bulks out and starts like turning into Super Shredder. So that's very silly.
It's literally
but George, what are your...
It's literally a plot point in Arkham, one of the Arkham games, the new ones, the Asylums. Joker
really?
becomes like super buff, I'm pretty sure, and there's a fight. I think it's the the Arkham, not Arkham Knight, but it was like Arkham Asylum. No, there's Arkham Asylum, the second one.
I wonder if that was borrowed from it, but it is interesting because I remember in the movie he gets that like white crystal suit, but it doesn't really do anything. So I'm wondering if they went so far along that they're like, well, when he gets the white crystal suit, that's when he becomes Big Joker or Big Riddle. I mean, and I don't think they could fit Riddler there. So on the screen it says Big Riddle, which I think is funny.
This island scene and the whole ending of that movie really, like, I always remember Jim Carrey when he's all like depleted and looks all melted. Did such a great job in that scene that it like stuck with me forever. I was like, oh my god. I don't know why. Something about the way he looked and he acted the scene was, I still remember it. So when I see this island,
he did do a good job.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
And it's funny to note that Jim Carrey in this game, he's not like physically in it. This is an actor playing him on the sprites, but you do hear him. They did digitized voice dialogue. And maybe not ironic, but how interesting is it that the guy who went on to play Robotnik in the Sonic movies appeared on the Sega Genesis, the same Sega Genesis that Robotnik did in the 90s. Like, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, you can go from playing Batman Forever to playing Sonic 2, and it's like, you come through a time portal and you're like, hey kid, that guy's going to be Robotnik. And you're like, oh, when they make the Sonic movie in 2 years, you're like, no, get this. He's still relevant in 2026. That's crazy. Like 20 years later, Jim Carrey is still relevant and playing villains that appeared on the Sega Genesis. I just think that's wild.
It's pretty rare for an actor to get a video game. I mean, they got licensed games, right? But like, how many people of Hollywood people actually get a game made of their movie? Not that many.
Not many. I don't know. I mean,
like The Sopranos had one. That's a one.
Road to Respect. Yeah. Ace Ventura did have one, but it was based on the cartoon show. I don't think Dumb and Dumber had one. Oh no, wait, no, it didn't. Wait, did it? Let me see. Dumb and Dumber video game. Oh, well, it was a slot game. So no. That's interesting. Dumb and Dumber Road Trip to Aspen.
Is that real?
A slot game. That's really weird. Slot machine game. So
that's not real.
Getting back to, it's real. It has to be. So let's talk about the development. This is what Nicholas Schaefer wanted us to do. So the video game adaptation of Batman Forever was actually created simultaneously with the movie, likely as the film was going through the post-production phase. There's no clear sign that this was a different game and turned into that. It seems like Acclaim's development team were given access to the movie's sets. They recorded footage. They took notes on the design before sending it off to the UK-based Probe Entertainment to be implemented in the game. Probe would then attempt to convert the assets they were given into backdrops, initially by scanning the footage into an SGI workstation and then drawing rough guidelines. And they placed computer-generated light sources and attempted to turn the results into 2D backdrops. The characters in the game were motion captured using the film's stuntmen against green screen. So these were film actors, but they were the stuntmen, not the actual actors. No offense to stuntmen. Which, again, were sent to Probe in video form. No members of the film's main cast reprised their role for the video game, though their likenesses are used in promotional material. Visually, the game stands out because of the live actors and digitized sets, much like Mortal Kombat. Do you think just visually this game's a success, putting gameplay aside?
I don't like the digitized actor look, so it's very rare for me to actually.
Interesting.
It's actually really rare for me to actually like it. It has to have something else going on for it. So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
to me it's a negative. Even Mortal Kombat, the look that Midway always had with their games, that's the look I didn't like. Like, I didn't really mind it in Donkey Kong Country or Vector Man because I think those were like not just humans. I also hated
Yeah.
like the I couldn't stand the digitized sometimes light gun games either. So I mean, I think that's just me. That's a me thing. We're not compatible.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see that. It's almost like a cheat. Like it's, I don't want to make this comparison, but it's almost like the AI of its time, where it's like, look, I made a sprite. And it's like, what'd you do? Oh, I videoed a guy, and then we just converted it into a sprite. And it's like, sprite artists are like, that's not a sprite. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, it does. I mean, I think it really worked for Mortal Kombat, and so I think it's interesting to see it implemented here. Another game that does this. I don't know if it does it well, but it does it. Is Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I do. These are, I don't know, like, I guess for me, if this were to exist as a game, I think I would have liked it to have the live actors, because it's just such an oddity. There aren't that many video games, especially licensed video games, that use the Mortal Kombat method. So I'm okay with it. My main complaint is that the stages themselves are too dark. And also the UI is not that great, like I mentioned. I think if you had brighter, colorful stages and clearer health bars, this would have been a success. As it is, it's flawed. It's not all the way there, but I think it's an interesting experiment. Another interesting thing about this game, so there's a limited edition release. It was sold exclusively in branches of Woolworths in the United Kingdom. In addition to a boxed version of the game, the package included a VHS cassette documenting how the game was made. A Batman Forever themed notepad and stickers were also included. The package is thought to have sold poorly and has subsequently become a rare collector's item. Both Mega Drive and Super NES versions are available. And I actually found some guy uploaded the VHS tape. It's like 3 minutes long. But I figured we could put it on here and listen to it. And if you hear the Seal music, I don't know if it's in it, but if you do, maybe pause it, because we're going to get hit with a copyright strike from Seal.
Oh, wow.
So presumably this is the tape that was included, and it's only 3 minutes. So can you imagine a VHS tape that's 3 minutes long?
Wow.
Yeah, right?
This is what makes Batman Forever the video game of the year.
We were able to use the actual film script and work with the production crew before.
It sounds so weird
shooting. That way we have an
because he's
edge over
filming the
every other
TV.
film platform or fighting
Right.
game on the market. Batman
Because
Forever
it was too hard to
is
convert the VHS tape.
not a standard video game anymore.
The Batman Forever video game uses real performances, real costumes.
Yeah.
and
Look at that.
Talent from the film itself, including
Oh, that's actually
real
kinda cool.
stuntmen.
Yeah.
Your human performance and put it into the video game in a way that's never
Chase
been done.
Meridian, that was her character.
It's really a revolution in video game development.
Even the movie's backgrounds and sets were shot on location by an acclaimed crew to give the game its incredible realism.
When you do a punch, you're gonna feel the weight of the
My thing
human
is,
performer doing the punch.
was this
That
made for like
feels
a
your
TV
games
station to air?
background are like the movies. They really are the movies.
It might have been, but it's just kind of funny that they included a 3-minute VHS tape. Like, I own a tape that I think is 10 minutes long. It's a behind the scenes of Home Alone 2, but 3 minutes is insane.
Proclaim its full cooperation to bring the movie's best elements, like all of Batman and Robin's invincible gadgets, to the game.
Oh.
Flash pellets, a homing batarang.
Oh yeah, see, they're
I
giving
love-
the gadgets some love.
Everybody's gonna love this one.
I love the Acclaim guys with their slick back hair.
Gadgets, Foxy Panda, which will be out
They
to
look,
fire and glue people to the
they
floor.
look like
Yeah,
bullies
you'll
from the
be able to pick up
neighborhood.
blueprints in certain levels for gadgets.
They remind me of the guys at E3 that would like sell you on the game as you play the demo.
The hype men for it.
This
Yeah.
is much more than a straightforward fighting and shooting game.
I remember playing Sonic Boom at an event, and the Sega hype guy was there, and I'm like, this isn't very good.
Yeah, they always they're always hyping
I
it.
said, is this finished? And they were like, no, and I'm like, it sure doesn't feel finished.
Batman and Robin can
That's
play
a-
together as a team.
It's weird to get this because it's like
Video game experience gets more intense the more you play.
they do have some behind the scene footage, but it's like these two guys from E3 literally just selling you on the game you just bought.
With their slick back hair.
It's like you took my money, why?
It's not going to be easy. Acclaim has combined its advanced technology with great gameplay and Warner Brothers
Look at
filmed
that.
superstar characters.
I think that's what makes this actually different.
It's funny because it's trying to sell you on the game that you already bought.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. It's like you buying a car and then the salesman starts playing a video in your vehicle. It's like he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have a great time in your new Hyundai car.
Look for Batman
You're gonna go on a lot of
video game on
trips."
Super NES, Mega Drive, Game Boy, and Game Gear in September, and on PC CD
They're showing the
later
Super
this year.
Nintendo version. How does that make you feel?
Pissed off.
Batman Forever.
All right, well, there we go. Batman Forever, the video game. George, a little aside, why is it that they called the movie where Robin debuts Batman Forever, and they call the fourth movie Batman and Robin when they could have called the third one Batman and Robin, and then the fourth one Batman Forever? Why is that?
They didn't hire a brilliant man like yourself to do the movie.
Thank you. As far as promotional material, there's quite a lot, but a lot of the ads were just basically the movie poster or the bat signal. Nothing really worth digging around for. But we do have a 30-second TV spot, which we can watch right now.
Play it now.
Sure. All right.
The hell?
I know.
Who is this? The artist?
That music.
That's the best part of the whole thing. Who is that artist?
I don't know, but that's such a great song, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like.
I think I found my new ringtone.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, for sure. I mean, can you imagine that song playing at work and you're just walking to your phone in slow motion, of course?
Oh, man. But yeah, I've muted it now. I'm just kind of flicking through it. So for those just listening, it's someone running through the streets, but there's Batman manhole covers, which is kind of weird.
Like he
They're
owns
passing
the
these
city.
people. These people are staring at him as though they're a freak or something. They're like, we know something about you. You're up to something, you freak. And as he keeps running, it says team up as Batman and Robin. And then it says hidden surprises. And it shows these two women who are straight out of a Sega Saturn ad.
Right.
They're like twins with like the weird, they have like Nights into Dreams jester haircuts.
But like,
And they disappear, George. And then behind them, it's like an atomic bomb went off and left their shadows on a wall, but they're Batman and Robin.
none of these characters. Is this the vibe the movie had? It feels like the ad feels a little darker than the actual.
The ad
movie.
feels like nothing connected to anything, and I love it. There's a stop sign, but the words are cut out, and it's like a weird font that doesn't exist anywhere. It does say over 80 stages, and I've seen that a lot in the marketing. Basically, what they're saying is any time you're like playing a level and you're in a space and you're moving from one end to the next, that's a stage to them, even though it's basically that's not a stage to me. That's like a moment within a level. It's a bit of a stretch. And then they talk about secret rooms. They really are into the secrets. And then we have Batman and Robin standing over the city while a dude who looks like he's about to go SEGA is in it's like a guy in his a middle-aged dude with glasses. He kind of looks like a mad scientist, but he's dressed up as a inmate, is looking up at Batman as Batman jumps towards him, I guess. And then it says Forever, the Batman Forever, the video game. Oh, amazing. 10 out of 10. That's the best ad. Batman Forever also saw the aforementioned Game Gear version, which was a scaled-down version of the Genesis game, and a completely different arcade game on the Sega Titan video system that was ported to the Sega Saturn. I actually played that quite a bit at the Galloping Ghost Arcade. I think you did too when we were there. Do you remember that one?
I think so. I played so many games. They had so many.
Yeah, it was Batman and Robin. It was live actors, but it was much better. It wasn't on a flat plane. It was the one where you can kind of move up and down the screen, almost like a 3/4 view. That's a great game. That's a lot of fun. And there is a Saturn version. I'm actually going to do the little eBay dive to see just how insanely expensive it is. It's a lot, I know. Let's see. Shit. Can you guess how much Batman Forever, the arcade game on the Saturn, is?
$256.98.
Yeah, you'd be right. It's between $250 and $300. There's one person selling it for $200. They have 0% positive reviews with 15 reviews. So that makes me wonder if this is like. But it looks like it's got the whole thing. Yeah, so they're asking $200. Caleb 14. Why are they so disliked? Does no one like them? Caleb, what have you done wrong? This is becoming the Caleb show. This guy's selling a lot of Sega stuff, but it seems like they're not a good seller. But yeah, so that game, it's so different that I think it's worth a future episode if we ever get to it, but it was too much to cover. The game itself, it averaged 75 out of 100 in review scores at the time. And in 1998, an issue of Next Gen magazine interviewed Acclaim's chairman and CEO, Greg Fischbach. And he spoke about how the game almost killed Acclaim. And I actually dug up the issue. It was cited on Wikipedia, but it wasn't quoted. So I had to dig around a lot. So this is me putting a little effort into the episode. Here's the interview. So Next Gen said, "How close did you come to going under?" And Greg said, "In 1996, it seemed like we couldn't do anything right. We could see the bottom, and it wasn't a pretty sight. You wouldn't want to be there." Next Gen said, "It was Batman Forever that almost sunk the ship, right?" And Greg says, "There were others too, but yes, Batman Forever and Forever and Forever." And he laughs. "But everything got sold eventually. Everything always has a price point. Whether it starts at $50 and drops to $40 to $30 to $20 to $10, everything sells eventually. I mean, nothing ended up getting buried. And if you remember back to 1995, Toys R Us had racks of games at hugely discounted prices. It wasn't just us."
That's
and
true.
Next Gen said, "But despite all these problems, Acclaim didn't go under. You fought back, and you're here to tell the tale today." And Greg says, "We lost a lot of money, but we didn't let Acclaim go down the tubes. We fought tooth and nail to survive. There were a lot of sleepless nights, and there was a lot of hard work put in by a lot of people. It would have been easier just to let it fail, but we didn't let it do that. As a result, we have a strong organization. We did have a lot going for us at that point in time." And I just have to ask, George, what are your opinions on Acclaim? We didn't really talk about them too much. When you hear their name, do you get excited or do you think of shitty games?
I actually think of shitty games. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel gimmicky games or games that are riding waves of popularity is kind of what I think of Acclaim usually, in my point of view. I think there are a lot of people that have nostalgic feelings for the brand, but I'm not one of them, sadly.
And Greg was actually the founder. It was founded by three guys, and he was one of the founder. It was founded out of a storefront in Oyster Bay in 1987. They actually filed for bankruptcy on September 1st, 2004, and the properties owned by Acclaim were auctioned off to various parties, most notably Howard Marks, a former Activision CEO. And he launched Acclaim Games, which continued to exist until 2010 when Playdom acquired and closed the company. A group of investors launched a new company using the Acclaim trademark in 2025. And it's kind of like what's happening with Atari now, too. It's like, it's Atari. And it's like, you're not really Atari. But yeah, products from them, most notably, are the Burnout series,
Oh, yeah.
the NBA Jam series, and Two Rock. So yeah, it's like, I don't know, like, yeah, whenever I think of Acclaim, I think of okay games. I think of games that use like weird graphical like gimmicks that don't always look that good. I think of games that are kind of muddy and that don't have very good sprites or 3D graphics.
I do like
like
NBA Jam though. I actually do like that game. That's a fun game to play.
Right. I do own that. I actually own that on Genesis, and that was one of the games that I wasn't a big sports guy, but whenever my friends would play that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll play that. But yeah, it is a very strange sort of company, and I think it's worth doing an Acclaim episode someday, but this is just an Acclaim game. Did Batman Forever play like a studio killing title to you?
I think it has more to do with it being a licensed game that they probably put a lot of studio effort into it and had no return.
Yeah.
But for sure, it feels that way, to be honest with you. When you pour so much into it, it would be like if Sega poured all that money into a Sonic movie game and it came out to be like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric type quality.
Right. And that's a great point, because you see in that little 3-minute video we watched, they put a lot of effort into the marketing. They had cast, they had film studio, they were sending stuff over to Europe. I don't know how difficult that was back in the day to send like video files across the sea. I don't know actually how they did that. Did they use phone lines maybe? I don't know. But yeah, it just seems like they put a lot of money into a licensed title that just didn't do well. And we've seen Sega do that in recent years with the, what was it? They did that Colonial Marines, right? That did horrible. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. In this case, it's interesting because they actually talk about how many copies they're like, oh, we sold all the copies. It's just we didn't sell them at full price. Which I thought was interesting because I could have sworn video games worked like the stores would buy them at a set price and then the company was good. And the store took the loss if they sold it for like $10. Like if you go to Target and find something in the discount bin, the company's not losing any money. It's Target losing money. However, Target will then be like, we're not going to order more of that because it didn't sell well. I don't know.
That's interesting because I do know that like only in comic book view side, but like they have guarantees where they're allowed to return excess copies to the store,
right?
And that means that some stores will buy more of your comic if they have the ability to be able to return it if it's not a big deal, and
right.
So I don't know how that works in video games terms. I thought the same thing you thought. Like, maybe they had I don't know. I'm thinking maybe they had the same sort of thing where the studio they get a cut or whatever of the sale, and if they don't sell, they return.
Yeah, I mean he was saying that we weren't like burying them, and I know in the Atari case, I think it was a case of them producing so many copies and stores were not buying all of them because like no one's buying ET. We're not going to buy more ET. And then they're like, we want to ship you more ET. No, we don't have any more. We don't want any more. How does Batman Forever compare to some of the other Batman movie games, specifically on the Genesis and Sega CD? And just for you and for those listening, there's Batman from, I believe it's Sunsoft. I could be wrong. There is Batman Returns, which had a Genesis and a Sega CD version. Mm-hmm. And then there's Batman Forever. Batman and Robin actually had a PlayStation 1 game, so that one doesn't count. But how would you compare it to those other ones?
I think this is worse than the other ones. The other ones I at least like that I like the pixel art sometimes in some of the games. Even like the NES Batman game has pretty cool art. So I think this just being, actors maybe was not for me. I don't know. I have mixed feelings, I guess. I have mixed feelings with all the Batman games on the Sega Genesis, to be honest with you.
Right. Yeah, they're all kind of difficult. They're all not perfect. I will say my favorite one is the Batman Returns for Sega CD, just because it's such an amazing looking title, especially the 3D segments. It's one of those games I'll just play the 3D segment and be satisfied. The same thing goes for the game Cliffhanger. Remember that game? Is that Stallone, I think?
Yep.
But there's the Cliffhanger Sega CD game has a snowboarding stage that you can actually just play that as a side mode, and that's really fun. It's a 3D snowboarding game. But yeah, Batman Forever. It's third, probably third on the list. I'd probably say Batman Returns, Batman, and then Batman Forever in terms of the ranking on the Genesis.
Last place.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on Batman Forever before we turn to Patreon to hear the Patreon memories?
Jim Carrey was slandered for his performance as the Riddler, and people were wrong, and history has proven them wrong. They should be ashamed.
100%.
They should be publicly stoned. Not to death, just hurt them really badly so they get to stay home a couple days from work.
Yeah, I'd say movie-wise, it's better than I think people say. I think it's a fun movie. Game-wise, it's ambitious. I will say that. It's a very ambitious licensed title, which I have to give them that. It's not like they phoned it in. It's not. It's ambitious to a fault. It's not phoned in to a fault, which is good. But will we talk about Batman again in the future? Well, that depends on if our Patreon supporters tell us to. And if you want to share your memories, you can actually become a patron even at the $1 tier, and that'll actually get you the audio version 2 weeks early. So here's some memories from our Patreon supporters. Michael S. says, I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and it was great. I had the SNES version, and I'm not sure how different it is, but me and my brother played it constantly and thought the graphics were really good. Daniel Andres says, great movie, but I have not played the game. So maybe he'll check it out now that he's heard us talk about it for an hour. George, on the next episode, do you know what you're talking about? Because I know what you're talking about.
I thought you gave me a choice of 2 games, but I forgot them.
I think you picked it. I think you picked Wonder Boy 3.
Yeah,
The Dragon's Trap.
Oh, yes, for sure.
So
we're going to be talking about that game. The first game or the remake? The remake's basically the first
Both.
game. Gotcha.
Both. Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited to talk about Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap next time on Sega Talk. Bye.